Today I'm going to replace the lower control arms on my 2013 Subaru Legacy. And if we go in here, you can see why. This is a pretty common problem on a car this old, is these rear rubber bushings just get completely dry rotted and blown out, and the car will kind of wiggle a little bit and get a little bit of speed wobble if you get on the highway and hit some bumps. So to remove these, there's going to be about four bolts you have to take off. This one here in the back. Go around to the front of the control arm here. See if I can get a good shot here. This one. Then you're going to need to take off your sway bar end link. This one here, and I'm just going to plan on replacing this link because there's almost no hope of that coming off without me destroying it. This is a rust belt car, so as you can kind of see, so this little Allen key that has to go on the end of this thing is most likely going to just be way too rusty to really work, so I'm probably just going to have to cut it off. Yeah, in the back there's your ball joint, and there's a screw here. It's like a 14 millimeter, and it is notorious for breaking in half. So basically what a lot of people will say is, if your boot's not damaged on your ball joint and your ball joint's not damaged, don't even mess with it. And I think that's the approach I'm going to take on this side. The other side, I tried to get it out, I snapped it, and then you basically have to drill this hardened steel bolt out, and then use a longer bolt and a nut. And then of course, to get the ball joint out, which is about impossible, you really can't do it without a special puller tool. So if you do that, when we get to that part of the thing, I'll show you how to do that, but you might want to think about not doing that. So everything here I've sprayed with PB Blaster for the last few days, just hoping none of this stuff breaks. These are going to be 19 millimeters back here, or which works out to be like a couple thousandths of an inch different than 3/4. So if you don't have a big 19 millimeter, you can use a 3/4. This front, the front one here is going to have 17 millimeters on both sides. Before you try to get this sway bar link off, make sure both sides of the car are jacked up. That way your sway bar won't be under a bunch of tension and it won't try to whack you. There's like no way this is going to come off, so I'm just going to cut it off, but I need to be super careful that I don't hit my my axle or my tie rod here. It's a little bit easier, like in my case, if this is the left side of the car, if I turn the wheel to the right, it kind of got this tie rod out of the way a little bit better for me. Alright, now I'm going to try to get this cotter pin out, which is most likely going to be so rusted in that it's not going to come out. Got it. That's rare. Normally this is going to break off and it'll just shear it off when you take out the castle nut, and then you can poke it through with a nail and a hammer. Another 19 millimeter or 3/4 inch. So normally you would use a pickle fork like this and stick it in here, hammer it in with a little sledge, and that would split the control arm. But because I'm trying to save my boot, I'm going to try to do it with a huge pry bar, like a digging bar, to see if I can split that apart. that was tough. Yeah, so worst case, you can use the pickle fork, but then you're going to have just as many battles ahead of you with these stupid ball joints. My boot looks pretty good, and I don't otherwise have any indications that my ball joint's not fine.
Yeah?
Yep.
And it's loud.
It is loud, isn't it? Alright, it might have to be pretty loud.
Okay, let's give Daddy some space because he's going to be...
Oh, nice. And then one last battle is that this bolt does not really want to come out. This bolt is kind of a hassle on both sides, so I'm just working it in and out with some PB Blaster to loosen it up. I'm just going to put this together in the reverse of how we took it apart, and I'm going to use a lot of anti-seize because I hope if I ever have to do this again, it's a lot easier. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to get everything kind of loosely started. This long one for the back, I'm going to anti-seize the heck out of this thing because it is a big pain. When you're lining all this stuff up, don't pull like out too much because you don't want to pull your axle out. The ball joint nut to the control arm should be 37 foot-pounds of torque, but since I put anti-seize, which lubricates the threads, you want to drop that usually by about 25%. I'm going to do 32 foot-pounds. That should be good, and then we just have to make sure we line up the hole here for our cotter pin. This is a 3/32 cotter pin I got from Home Depot. To get your new sway bar links in, you can kind of turn the joint down a little bit and then up a little bit for the other one. And then we should be able to kind of wiggle it in place here, just enough to kind of get it started. These ones are from Moog. Actually, everything I have is from Moog here. So these are 17mm nuts. And hopefully I can thread it on without having to use the little Allen key thing at the end, but if it spins, we'll have to put an Allen key in it. And that's it. It's a okay job if you don't have to deal with the ball joint. It could turn a 1-hour job into a 8-hour job if you have to fight with the ball joint and just can't get it off. And if you have to drill and tap that bolt out. If you have any more awesome tips for these things, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.